All right, welcome to Yard Prep. My name is Kai Chen Chisholm, also known as Samurai Radio. Joining me as always is Michael, also known, is it Michael Wallamack or is it just Wallamack on
Twitter? It's just Wallamack.
There you go. We're going to be joined by a couple other people here pretty soon, but we want to get this going. Dolphins play at 4:05 today in Denver at Mile High. The inactive list just went live. I'm trying to get.
I saw it. It was. I think it was
going.
Bowden, Chandler Cox, the tackle Panky,
and DeAndre Washington.
And DeAndre Washington. Yeah.
Yeah. So no inactive Antonio Callaway. I know I was saying that a lot last week, but he's not inactive. And Cameron Wolf made a point to mention that Kyle Van Noy will be active. Is Christian Wilkins still on the COVID-19 list? The reserve list? I think he is, but I'm not completely sure.
I think so, because I think he might have actually had it. I'm not super sure about that. I'd have to check. But I was really intrigued by Chandler Cox and DeAndre Washington being on the inactive list, right? Because we're all pretty happy with what Ahmed did last week, and we want to see more from him, right? We've got Matt Breida back, which is great, and now we've got Lewis Sung here, so that's even better.
I thought I was on time. Apparently, I'm a little too late.
But with Breida being back, you've got Ahmed back. We don't have Jordan Howard. Gaskin's still out. You're now down to 2 running backs, a potential 3rd running back in Malcolm Perry if you want to put him back there. But there's nobody I would say that I can put back there that I'm really happy with from a power running standpoint, which is really interesting to me, which is why I think you want to leave Chandler Cox active to kind of give you a little bit more push up the middle if you run an I formation. But without all of them, I mean, your heaviest back is Breida. I think Breida's heavier than Ahmed.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and I'll bring it to you in a second, Lewis. It's interesting because Cox has been inactive quite a few times since Tua has become the starting quarterback. Obviously, it's a different style of game than they were kind of doing with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I guess Chandler Cox isn't as needed. But he's someone I think I could speak for all of us that we've kind of been really happy with at that fullback position for quite some time that he's kind of been around and been a Miami Dolphin. But Lewis, how do you feel about the inactives with Washington, Bowden, Panky, and who was the 4th one? Oh my God, I'm sorry. I just had it up.
Bowden, Panky,
Cox, Washington, and Panky. Yeah.
Whoa, so hold on a second. Is that
true? We saw the news. Apparently Joe Burrow's gone for the season. Who's the fragile one now? But anyway, that's not.
Come on, Lewis, you can't say that right now. It just happened.
Where's the sung fire? We need the sung fire. It's already started.
No. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry. I thought it was 315 because that's a nice, roundish number. But I guess we were doing 310, which I don't know any sort of programming that starts at 310. But that's okay. Whatever. Did we already talk about that? This show is brought to us by PricePicks.com.
We have not.
No, we're waiting for you, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, then before I address your question, Kai, I'll just go ahead and for all of you listening out there, thank you for going along with me as I go ahead and talk about PricePicks.com, which is an awesome new fantasy way to play. Next, make sure that you pick 2, 3, or 4 guys that you can pick the over or under on their fantasy points and use the promo code 5, and they'll match your deposit up to $100. So that's all you got to do. Go in there and start winning now and start making a little money. Who knows? With the way the Dolphins are playing right now, you might actually make a little cash off of these guys. So now, with all that said, I'll go ahead and address the question that you brought to me. So the inactives for this game, quite frankly, I'm not all that concerned about it. See, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one talking about this.
There's times where I just love our fan base so much. It never fails. It never fails to surprise me. Sorry, it just. Anyways,
this is you're used to cocky Heat Twitter. This is cocky Dolphins Twitter now.
Well,
cocky Dolphins Twitter, I don't think has ever really existed. Twitter came into relevance in 2010. Dolphins haven't really had a right to be cocky in the last 10 years.
I've been used to Dolphins Twitter, which is everybody arguing back and forth about everything of who wants to be right first and then just continuously going back. This has been a whole new revelation of things. I mean, I've seen cocky Dolphins Twitter go wild, but that right there was that was great. But
anyways. Yes, inactives: Lynn Bowden, Chandler Cox. Who was the other one? DeAndre Washington. And Adam Panky. All right. So that's about what I expected, quite frankly. The fact that we have Breida back now, I'm pretty sure that he is going to go ahead and just be, I'm going to say he's going to be the complement piece to Savon Ahmed, because quite frankly, Ahmed has been given the right, I think, at this point to go ahead and try to do what he can do. Now, that doesn't mean that Breida is not going to get some snaps. With Gaskin gone, I'm sure that Breeden's going to get his shots. I've been saying since almost day one now that if we're going to use Breida, that the best thing that we can do for him is to turn him into the Reggie Bush type guy. He needs to be the guy who can catch passes out of the backfield, try to make guys miss with that elite speed that he's got. Running with the ball on handoffs and stuff, that hasn't really worked with him so much. He's not able to get as much of a push as we want him to. So we need to try to find different ways to get him the football. I would love to be able to get him some screen passes, see what he can do, get guys to miss, a la Jakeem Grant. Hello, Mr. Royal Shepherd, as he joins the show. So, okay.
What's going on, y'all, man? How y'all doing?
What's up, Royal?
We're doing good. All right. We're all good here now. So I'll go ahead and shoot it to you in just a moment, Royal. So I'll just go ahead and finish up here. So DeAndre Washington being inactive, not surprised. He's a newcomer, not really all that much of an issue. Lynn Bowden being inactive. Okay, again, I guess they're wanting to see what Callaway can do. Bowden and Malcolm Perry, if we're really being honest about this whole thing, they're pretty much the same player. But Perry, as of recently, has actually been able to be more productive during games than Bowden has. So at that point, I can understand why Bowden is the inactive one while Perry stays the one who can actually do stuff. And I guess if we want to be real about it, if we're going to try to do more Wildcat stuff, Perry is a more reliable option because he has more experience throwing the football than Bowden does. So there is always that one little itty bitty wrinkle that I'm not sure we'll see today, but that would be pretty cool if we did. I don't think we will, but again, I wish we would use it. As far as Adam Pankey, I mean, he's been inactive every game this season, so that's irrelevant. That's if somebody ends up going down.
Three. It's really the first three with Cox, Bowden, and
and Chandler Cox being inactive. It's not the first time we've done it. It just tells me that the Dolphins are not planning to run really any power football in this game, which I can understand why, because if we're being real about it, when Cox gets on the field, it's not like anybody's curious as to what he's doing. When Cox is back there, he's the fullback. He's going to try to be a lead blocker, and guys will stack the box and they'll know exactly what's coming. So unless you're going to use Chandler Cox as something other than a lead blocker, which I have seen no indication that the Dolphins are going to be doing, then I don't see the reason to keep him active. At this point, the best thing that the Dolphins can do is to try to be creative and make up run plays. They have to try to find ways to, again, you do what I said with Matt Breida. Just got to do a little shovel pass here, a little quick toss there. Make up run plays by throwing the football. Give Tua a little easy tosses that he can just go, there you go and take off and run, please. That's the kind of thing that the Dolphins need to be doing at this point, because that is what seems to be working. Running the football, just slamming it up the middle, we've seen very little indication that that's going to work. Savon Ahmed actually managed to get some big yards, but most of those happened going left and right, not so much going straight up the middle. So that's why I don't see the reason in keeping Chandler Cox active, because that's when you're going to start trying to slam it up the line. You're not going to try to outspeed the guy. So I can see why.
Did they put Kinley in to play fullback on the first touchdown last game, on the very first play?
Yeah.
Yes,
they did. But again, if that's the plan, then
that's what I'm saying. If you want power, if you want power, you can get more power out of Kinley. And if you want somebody that can catch the ball better, you can put Durham Smythe back there, right? So Cox is out more because we have other people that are just more versatile than he is at what he does. Right?
Now, this is what I'm thinking. For Chandler Cox to have a future with this team, he needs to be the power back. Seriously, what about Jordan Howard? I'm asking this as an honest question. If anybody can answer it, I'll take it. What makes Jordan Howard supposedly a better power runner than Chandler Cox? What about their games are different that Howard is a better power running back than Chandler Cox? If the goal is to go straight up the middle and charge, why is Howard supposedly better than Cox?
I don't think you can really say, and I think Royal, to get you in the mix, it might be better if you kind of bring your 2 cents. But just for me, like I don't think you can really say that Howard brings. I mean, obviously no longer on the team, but when he was even here, he didn't really bring much. Yeah, he had the few touchdowns, but realistically, as a runner, what was he really bring? It just wasn't. It wasn't great. But Roy, I'll pass this off to you.
Oh no, it's cool, bro. I'm really here to learn about the Dolphins too, because I'm transitioning into a Dolphins fan. Michael knows this.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah. Hold on. We got to give him a test or something because he's going from Aaron Rodgers the past like 12 years or whatever it is now to Tua. He doesn't know what actual bad fandom is. Like,
well, listen, no. I grew up in South Florida, so I know I know about the Dolphins history, but I've watched every game that Tua started. So before then, I was very interested in watching the Dolphins.
This man doesn't know what it feels to be a Dolphins fan, Lewis.
No,
Don't even go
it's
there,
not.
bro.
I've only known what it's like to hate the Dolphins, bro. That's all I've ever known. But my wife is making me transition to a fan, so I'm starting that process now. And so I have been watching. I am an avid
Happy wife,
football
happy
fan.
life. Good idea.
obviously she's the smarter one out of the two. So
I tend to live by happy house, happy spouse, bro. That's how I live my life. I need to be happy too. But just in terms of the game today, I'm really looking forward to seeing the defense kind of rattle Drew Lock a little bit. His play has been sliding, and I'm just not sure if he's going to be the answer in Denver. So I'm looking for people like Byron Jones to get involved in the defensive end. I might see him get his first pick. Might see him get his first interception of the season, and that's kind of something that, you know, I know that's not his skill set, but, you know, it would be nice to see him get an interception every now and again. So I think the defense is going to end up carrying the team today because Denver's offense has just been on a terrible slide. Their team in general has been on a terrible slide, and they've just been really hard to watch. And yeah, those are my little quick 2 cents. I'll just kind of jump in here and there as you guys go around the horn.
yeah, I think the defense, it's really comforting to sit back and be like, the biggest thing I'm worried about is a couple mishaps or mistakes on offense that I don't even think would end up coming from our quarterback, right? Like, I think Tua is still young and he'll make a couple mistakes here or there, but on the offensive side, I'm worried about a running back fumbling the ball or another bad snap from Ted Karras, right? I'm not too worried about an interception because I know Tua is smarter than that. And defensively, I mean, like you mentioned, Drew Lock hasn't been playing great. He just hasn't, right? What did he throw 4 interceptions last week? I think it was.
He might get yanked this week if he starts.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I don't think he's going to have a crazy interception game just because I don't feel like it's strange.
Some of his
That's
passes
not,
are a little out there, though.
They are.
Yeah.
I just don't
mean,
feel like the Dolphins are that kind of team, though. Like, I don't think our cornerbacks, we have one really good ball hawking cornerback, but the rest of our secondary isn't super great at ball hawking, right? They're always there around it, but Howard's really the only one that proves that interception quality, kind of. So I think he'll have at least 1 to 2 turnovers, but expecting another 4 or 5 is just nuts, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Drew Lock is a gunslinger. Drew Lock is a gunslinger, and you know, they tend to go. It's kind of like Ryan Fitzpatrick, where they can go games where they throw a whole lot of touchdowns, but then they also throw in a whole lot of interceptions too.
Right,
and that could be like a slide for Drew Lock. I mean, I like him as a player, but it's just the inconsistency that kind of gets me when it comes to him.
I honestly don't know if we can.
Last year. Sorry, just to add that.
No, go ahead. I honestly don't think that we can say that the Miami Dolphins are not going to get 4 to 5 interceptions off Drew Lock. For real. But here's why.
No, I agree.
It's
with
you. Not only is Drew Lock suspect with his accuracy already, now he's playing on a bum ankle.
Right.
That sounds familiar. I'm thinking back a few weeks ago to the San Francisco 49ers with one Jimmy Garoppolo, who was also running around on one leg. If the Dolphins can get after Lock, like they have been getting after quarterbacks this whole season, feels like now, Drew Lock's going to have a miserable experience. And I'm here for it. Like you guys saw
I think all quarterbacks are going to have a miserable experience against us if we stay healthy and keep our schemes the way we're going, right?
Unless they can run, unless they're running quarterback.
But even then,
have a field day.
Drew Lock can't run, especially not today.
But then again, right? The running quarterbacks we faced, Cam Newton rushed pretty well, and I think the Patriots are underrated for what their record is, right? The Patriots have been really up and down, but they've been in some games that
to win today.
The Patriots have been in some games that they probably shouldn't have been. Like, I think that's still a decent enough team. But then, I mean, Kyler Murray is just on a whole nother level with his running, right? And I don't think we're going to face – I think Kyler Murray is one of a kind with that sort of mobility. I would say that he's a little bit more mobile than Lamar Jackson, at least a little bit smarter with his mobility too. So I don't think deep offenses are going to have a nice time with us at all. Like, I think the only offense that scares me moving forward is Kansas City. That's literally it, which is a really weird place to be in because they're one of the top 3 to 5 offenses in the league.
Just quickly to clarify, I did think that it was a different injury for Locke than the ankle. It was his ribs. He's dealing with bruised ribs.
Oh, bruised ribs. Okay, sorry about that.
Look, you said New England needs to win today, but they're playing against a hot Deshaun Watson today, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I know. Bummer. The Dolphins draft pick does not bode well for the Dolphins draft pick today.
Well, hold on.
I mean, I'm fine with watching Houston destroy the Patriots, though, to be really honest.
I'm not scared of New England. I don't care if they win the day or not.
But it's just fun to watch them lose.
We can have fun next year.
Right, but like it's just fun to watch them lose. Like, I don't know. I think all 4 of us here have great respect for Bill Belichick, just like as a coach. Yeah, I like the whole cheating stuff. But like, you know, I think
I really don't.
I think we can all agree that literally every single team has a way in which they cheat. It's just who gets caught and who doesn't. The Patriots got caught. Like, the Dolphins probably have stuff.
And over.
But
hold on.
Okay, but Lewis, like
over and over again because they're winning. They were the Patriots, right? You did not have an NFL season without thinking the Patriots were going to make it to at least the second round of the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So everyone was watching them a little bit closer. Granted, I do think that they might do it a little bit more than everybody else. Everybody has their things, right? And it's just they got caught, and now everybody's caught up in this. Oh, the Patriots are changing. The Patriots were just better than everyone else. They were just better. Like, I'm sorry, Deflategate was not going to change the butt whooping they put on the Colts. Like, let's just I'll move on.
But to bring it back into Dolphins talk really quick. Sorry to cut you off there, Royal. I'll let you go first.
I was about to say, to your point, watching the Patriots lose is an enjoyable pastime for any fan, not just Dolphins fans. But go ahead, bro. You're about to talk some serious football.
I was gonna say, you know, for the Dolphins, this is just the perfect opportunity, and it went up there on the screen there, man. You put it up to get that 6th straight win and to be able to put yourself in. Again, I know that I'm repeating myself every week now for the past 3 or 4 weeks, but this stretch here should put you into the position where against that Chiefs game, that Michael, as you said, is the one that you really do fear because of the Chiefs offense. That puts you in that position to be 9-3 come that point, and then, you know, if you can rattle off these wins here, which you should, especially now, Bengals, no Joe Burrow. I think that should obviously be a lock. The Jets is a lock. Today is really, I guess, probably the only one where what if something goes wrong. But these next 2 games after should be a lock. And it just puts you in that place. So let's say the Bills drop a game or somehow. Once they come off of their bye, they'll be facing the Steelers, I think, once they come off their bye. It just puts into a position that not only could the Dolphins make the playoffs this season as a wild card, it still does cement the fact that they could easily win the division. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on that one, because or I guess not easily, but like they could win the division, which I think come week 3 or even coming into the season, none of us thought that was going to happen.
I know personally, from the outside looking in, I've always thought that the Dolphins had a pretty solid chance of winning the division. And I think it's because I've been listening to Ethan too much when he says he just doesn't trust the Bills. Like, I just do not trust the Bills and Josh Allen. Like, I don't trust them to be able to maintain this lead. I've also never been afraid of New England winning this division. I think the Cam thing was going to take a while to gain some legs, and they're getting better, but they're still not looking like the Patriots of old. And so yeah, I do think the Dolphins have a really good chance of winning this division. And with the way they've been playing, I don't see why they can't potentially win at least one playoff game if they do get into the dance.
Go ahead, Luis.
No, I was gonna say that just the fact that we're having this discussion again, I've said this many times, that this is proof positive that the Miami Dolphins have found themselves a coach that is worth finally respecting. And it cannot be said enough that kudos to Chris Greer and Stephen Ross, because when I heard that it was Brian Flores, the first thing that came into my mind was, oh, good, another Belichick protege is going to fall flat on his face, just like every single other one. I was
not excited. I wanted the Cowboys guy.
Chris Richards, or not Chris Richards, something.
You know what? And I'll even say this: I was at a community event where the Dolphins were hosting a high school all-star game, and there were a lot of alumni all standing around. I was with them, and they were all talking about whether this was a good idea or not. Patrick Surtain was one. Troy Drayton was there as well. Aronde Gadsden was also a part of that group. And I can't remember whose opinion was whose, but there was a very split thought on whether Flores was the right choice or not.
Right.
So even among people who have been around the team for years, not everybody was immediately convinced that Brian Flores was the guy. So that just goes to show that when reputations happen, it can have a real detrimental effect on how you think of a person. I was in the camp that said, nope, because you've seen Bill O'Brien. We've seen Matt Patricia. We've seen, I guess,
Vrabel's an exception.
Mike Vrabel's, Mike Vrabel's been the other exception now.
Right.
But most of the proteges under Belichick have completely failed every time they've gone somewhere else. Josh McDaniels. Well, yeah. I mean, but McDaniels... Correct me if I'm wrong. McDaniels was the coach for the Broncos first, and then he went to New England to be under Belichick. And he
was in New England.
Belichick, Broncos, back to Belichick.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then he was going to go to Indianapolis, and then he bolted last minute.
Yeah. The rivalry is back. Remember.
Yeah. We've said it a bunch of times. The Dolphins are ahead of schedule, right? We're ahead of schedule. This is not where we should have been at with the way things were planned out on being, at least according to the outside looking in. Now, inside of the house, they may have been thinking playoffs next year, right? Like, we can do it. We've got the team. None of us really thought that. I thought they could pull off a winning record. I wasn't thinking playoffs, even with the 7th seed. They're ahead of schedule. Tua has nothing but improvement to make from here, right? Like, because he's not blowing us away. We've said it before. He's playing well. He's managing the game well. And the Cardinals game, yes, he stepped up and won us that one, right? But he's not really putting up those crazy Justin Herbert stats or anything. So he's just going to get better. The defense looks like it's in sync and also just improving. Then you've got a bunch of draft picks coming in. At this point, I think our expectations have just been accelerated, and now they're just going to keep accelerating. And so it's like, if we do make the playoffs, which I think we should at this point, next year our expectations are just going to be on top of that, right? It's going to be, we need a deeper playoff run in Super Bowl contention, right? And that's something that I never thought I'd be saying in Tua's 2nd year and in Brian Flores' 3rd year, with a bunch of rookies that we thought maybe they'll hit, maybe they won't.
Yeah.
I think maybe those expectations should be tempered. Next year. Like, because of the success of this year, like, people are going to forget that the Dolphins are ahead of schedule. And next year, if you start thinking, AFC Championship game or Super Bowl, then you're setting yourself up to be disappointed for the incremental improvements that this is going to take in order to get the Dolphins to be able to build themselves up into a team like that.
But that's what expectations do, right? Like, the Heat, for example, made it all the way to the finals. So now my expectations are, well, if you don't make the Eastern Conference Finals, like, what's going on, right? The Hurricanes a couple years back with Rick were undefeated right up until the last week of the season, lost to Clemson, and we thought, okay, ACC championship again. We should temper them, but as a fan, it just becomes, you've made it, I want more. You didn't lose anything, I want more. And that's just, it's hard to hold it back.
Yeah.
Especially when we've been as depraved as we have been for so long.
All right, so let's go ahead and do some more immediate talk, because we do have a game coming up.
Yeah.
So now the Dolphins we talked about their inactives. Now the Broncos inactive, I'm just going to go down the list here. So the inactives as follows are quarterback Jeff Driscoll, wide receiver Tyree Cleveland, cornerback Duke Dawson Jr., cornerback Kevin Tolliver II, linebacker Joe Jones, not Joe Jonas, I almost said that, Joe Jones, Elijah Wilkinson, tackle, and Jake Rogers, tackle. So we Broncos are a little bit more beat up than Miami is. So now here is the question at hand. What is the key to victory for these Dolphins today? Like, what more than anything needs to happen for Miami to keep this streak going? Because a lot of people are saying things like trap game. The Dolphins are going to come out flat. They're not, because they've already been on this super crazy high, and they're starting. We even had discussions late last week whether they were starting to believe their own hype because they did not win quite as demonstrably as they should have. Yes. So, or at least how we perceived how they should have. So what needs to happen today more than anything for the Dolphins to receive yet another victory and win 6 in a row for the first time since 2016, which, if you really think about it, wasn't that long ago?
I think, Manny, if you could bring it up. Yeah, I was about to say that's one of them. Like, some of these penalties have to be lowered. I think the past 2 weeks we've been getting a little more penalties than we're used to, especially like, you know, last season. I think we were one of the least, if not the least, penalized teams in the league. I think the past few weeks it's been a little up and down. There's been a lot more penalties. It hasn't cost them the game, and we've seen some times where there's a holding penalty and they still were able to, you know, overcome it, get a first down, which is unusual for the Dolphins. But I would say that less penalties. And then you cannot botch a snap in the red zone again. Can't botch 2 snaps in general, but you can't botch a snap in the red zone again. You can't have that just can't happen. We can't be having small turnovers. I think, although we mentioned, and Michael mentioned at the top, kind of how Tua has kind of not thrown the same picks that Drew Lock has thrown. Obviously, Tua doesn't have a pick yet, but I think he also needs to
a lot of that has been left, though.
Yeah, he has to be a little bit more cautious with some of the throws. He should have 100%. Kenneth Murray should have picked that ball off last week. The week before that, if 1 foot wasn't out of bounds, you know, that was a bad pass away. Not that it's everything against him, right? Like, he's still been playing. I think, you know, he hasn't been blowing us away. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals game, he blew us all away. But I think, you know, he's got to watch a couple of those throws. He's trying to get them, you know, obviously he knows that he can make those throws, but kind of wanting to go for too much in certain situations. So try not to have that situation pop up, because if there's any team that rides their hype more than I think a lot of NFL teams do, it's the Broncos, because you can see it's like, I feel like every single time, and it starts with Drew Lock and it goes all the way down with their offense, with their defense. Whenever something gets going, they believe their hype, and that can change momentum and turn a game around and have the Dolphins lose a game that they definitely shouldn't lose.
Yeah. I think for me, the keys to keeping the streak going are what got us here. And that is, we have to make sure to continue to rely on the defense, right? Like, the defense they don't have to score as many points as they have been, right? I don't think they're going to need to, especially not in this game, but the defense needs to keep playing as consistent as they have, which is bend, don't break. Excuse me. Like, if they continue to stop them and make other teams settle for field goals, stop them on 3rd and shorts, 4th and shorts when they go for it. That is our bread and butter right now. The offense is going to expand, and we're going to get to a point where the offense is what we rely on, right? And the offense is what wins us games. But right now, it's the defense that's doing that for us. And I'm good with continuing to let the defense do that, especially these next 3 games where I think these are offenses that, if the defense is playing as they have been, they should lock them up. And sorry, real quick, before I let Royal and Lewis go with theirs, I just saw a tweet from Safid Dean, who said that it looks like Solomon Kinley's back in the starting lineup this week. He was warming up with the starters, and Jesse Davis is playing right tackle. So Hunt is the odd man out. Kinley and Austin Jackson are the rookies in, with Flowers and Karras playing their same positions.
Yeah, so I think your last point is kind of leading into what I think the Dolphins need to do for success. They need to find some type of sustained success in the running game today. Like, I feel like if they can figure out a way to be consistent in the running game, then that only makes the game easier for Tua and lends itself to Michael's point, which is to rely on the defense. This is the type of game that I feel like if they dominate the time of possession, then they can win very easily at that. So I do believe that Denver's going to give them some opportunities to get the ball back with Drew Lock turning it over some. But I believe if the Dolphins are going to win this game, then they're going to have to try and find some way to manufacture a solid running game for today and not rely heavily on Tua throwing the ball.
That's pretty much what I'm thinking. I'm going to go ahead and just moniker this. Offense wins games. Defense wins championships. That's what I want to say. It's gonna a little addition to the old moniker of defense wins championships. Just a little add. Offense does win the game. It's the defense, though, that wins the championship in the end. So as far as I'm concerned, as long as the Dolphins can have a decent game and Tua does not make any mistakes, if he can be game manager Tua and the defense continues to be what they've been doing, then the Dolphins should have this game in the bag, and that should take care of that. So we'll go ahead and call it here. Yes, our game live stream begins at 4 p.m. This is something new that we're adding, so you can join us here at 4 p.m. So if you don't want to listen to Greg Gumbel or whoever it is that the Dolphins are going to get for this upcoming game and stop listening to them talk about how amazing the other team is and how incredible Drew Lock is as a young quarterback, then you can just go ahead and tune in with us here at 5 Reasons Sports. We will have new links available for you to check out, and we'll have commentating on.
Did we do predictions?
Game.
Sorry.
We can do we'll go ahead and do predictions. I just wanted to get that out there. Right. So yes, remember 4 p.m. we will be here and we will have our own commentators. I'll be here. Kai will be here. Mike will be here. Maybe Royal can be here. We're going to be rotating throughout the 5 Reasons cast. You'll have Ethan Skolnick of here and eventually, I believe. So we will have plenty of options available to you. So I'll go ahead and let the predictions roll. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Royal, as the newcomer. You go first. What is your prediction for the game?
And we're talking about the Dolphins, remember, not the Packers.
Oh, bro. So let me go back and look up some of the people on the Dolphins roster.
Oh, for heaven's sakes!
But I got the Dolphins winning today, 24-20. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a relatively close game. Oh, and that was my wife who just commented.
Yeah. The smart one in the house. The smart one.
Yeah, they call you the smart one in the house. He's sitting right next to me. But yeah, so yeah, I got the Dolphins winning today, 24-20.
Kai.
I wrote down on Friday that 31-17. I'm gonna stick with it.
All right, sounds good. And Mike.
I heard it on the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast, and I'm going to steal it because it works perfectly, which is 28-20 because the Dolphins average 28 points per game. The Broncos allow 28 points per game. The Broncos score 20 points per game, and the Dolphins allow 20 points per game. So it's way too perfect. I'm going 28-20 Dolphins.
All right, and so my prediction is last, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go a little off the table. I'm not saying the Broncos are winning. That's not my prediction. So don't, before you start, I already saw the eyebrow jump up with Kai. It's like, no, I'm not predicting the Broncos are winning. So don't
everybody hate on him in the comments now, quick.
Oh, okay, yeah, like they need prompting to do that. But they do that anyway. But so all I'm going to say is that I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I really don't. I think that, and forgive me if this sounds like I'm a headhunter here, but I think that these Dolphins and their cover zero amoeba defense, they're going to within the first half, Drew Lock is going to get absolutely hammered. His poor ribs, bless his soul, he's going to get taken out of the game, and they're going to need their backup to come in. And after that, it's time for the Dolphins to terrorize whoever their backup. Who is their backup anyway? Because Jeff Driscoll's out, so who is actually their backup?
Get him. We're gonna destroy him. Wait, yeah, what was his name? Ripien. Brett Ripien.
Yeah. Okay, whoop the freaking do. So I'm not at all.
You're not
worried.
scared of Brett Ripien?
No, I'm not.
Wow,
like,
dude,
come on, Ripien can rip it. Come on.
Yeah, I knew. See, the pun was right there. I knew it was coming too.
Hall of Famer Brett Ripien.
Manny comes in every time just to go at this and then peace out.
Manny, do you have a prediction? Would you like to come in before I give my official score?
I don't have a prediction, but Dolphins defense will have 2 defensive scores today.
Whoa! I should have picked them up in fantasy.
That's a prediction right there. I didn't even go that far. All I predicted on Twitter was that Xavier Howard would have another interception today.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah, that's a safe bet with Drew Lock. So my prediction is that the Dolphins are actually going to win. I'm going to say 34-17.
That's big.
I think they're going to absolutely run up this score on the Broncos. I think that this team is firing on all cylinders right now. The defense is on fire. I don't trust Drew Lock, especially if his ribs are all messed up. I don't trust. The only thing that I can say about the Broncos is that they have a tough defense. But since this is Tua and not Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is the quarterback, and this I will easily admit, as much as I like Fitzpatrick, of course, I like him just a little less now that the beard has been trimmed down. It's not the same. The charm isn't there anymore. But anyway, I will say this. Tua is much as much as we've been saying Tua needs to be more careful, he already is more careful than Fitzpatrick in many areas, and he's definitely more accurate. So all Tua has to do is take care of the football, and the Dolphins will find ways to win at this point. So I'm thinking Dolphins are going to win big today. I think they're going to win real big. So anyway, any final parting thoughts before we go ahead and prepare for the next live stream of our commentating of the game?
Tua's first 3 touchdown game, anyone?
Sure,
Okay,
I'll
I'm with it, bro.
book it.
There you go. So there you go. So we did our score predictions. I like that, Michael. Let's go ahead and we'll close with that. So that's your prediction, is that Tua is going to score 3 touchdowns. Kai, your in-game prediction.
Antonio Callaway is going to catch one of them.
Antonio Callaway making his debut here. All right. I'm actually surprised that he hasn't been able to play yet. I'm not surprised that he hasn't gotten much playing time, but I am surprised that he hasn't played at all yet. I would think that eventually he would be able to get in there. But Jakeem Grant, with the way he's been playing, with the way that Jakeem Grant has been playing, the urgency isn't there so much. So I will say that. So, okay. Antonio Callaway gets some passes from Tua today. How about you, Royal? What's your prediction? I think you said something earlier. What was it?
Yeah, I said it was Byron Jones gets his first interception of the season.
All right. That's probably the boldest prediction of the whole round so far.
Mine's is pretty out there, but that one.
Yeah. It's like Byron Jones an interception. Are you kidding?
News, bro.
All right, I think we got to ride out here. We got to start getting into the next stream here, guys.
My only prediction is Xavier Howard going to get another interception. It's very easy, very obvious, but I'll go ahead and do that. So thank you all so much for joining us. And once again, PricePicks.com. There's still time to get in there, get the over under on any of our on 2 to 3 or 4 fantasy players. Pick their over and under. They will match your deposit up to $100 if you use the promo code 5. That's FIVE 5. All right. So thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be right back with some in-game commentary from the crew.